Relax, the keyboard is off, the press box is closed, and the mic is just getting warmed up as the guardian of the blue paint turned writer is about to enlighten us. A show where the writer is fresh off the presses and the ink is not dry. For this week's show, the Flyers could look to the NCAA for some amazing talent. Welcome to the Hockey Writers Ink. Join Lance and Steel as we bring you all the latest on the Flyers.
Hi guys, welcome back to another edition of the Hockey Writers Ink. As always, I'm your host, Lance Green.
And as always, I'm your co-host, SteelFlyers, for another great edition of the Hockey Writers Ink, a Philadelphia Flyers hockey podcast. And I'm here to tell you, Lance, I think we got another good one here for the folks. You wrote a great article, and I'm here to tell you, I think we got a good one.
Got some good talking points, so let's get into it.
For sure. Let's really get into it here. First of all, we would like to say huge thank yous to Spreaker for all your help and all your support for putting us on every single podcasting platform. All you have to do is type in Hockey Writers Ink on any one of your favorite podcasting platforms, from Apple to iHeart to Google to Amazon to Spotify. Just type in Hockey Writers Ink. We come up, give us a 5-star rating, and that helps us to get higher in the rankings when folks are looking for Philadelphia Flyers podcasts, because that's what we talk about. That's right, the Philadelphia Flyers here on the Hockey Writers Ink. And we got the host with the most, the editor-in-chief, the writer extraordinaire, the guardian of the blue paint turned writer, Lance Green. Yeah! I mean, I feel like, did you ever see Rocky?
Yes.
Right. And when they announced Apollo Creed, like, he had 24 nicknames, you know what I mean? Like, that's kind of where you're getting at now. You got to say all 25 of your nicknames. I'm just messing with you, bro. But the editor-in-chief of the SteelFlyers.com has posted another article just the other day to the website, and I got to tell you something, folks. Man, oh man, oh man, this is one that y'all should be getting your eyes on the prize for, that's for sure. And here we go. Episode number 117. Flyers could look to the NCAA for some talent. But I think the first thing that we have to talk about is exactly what Tortorella talked about the other day at his press conference. And what was that he said, Lance?
Well, a brief synopsis of that was that, before we add anybody else, there needs to be some subtraction. And I think that's
the key word, subtraction.
Yeah. And as me and you have been speaking, we need to clean up shop. Chuck brought in a lot of guys that didn't work. There's still a lot of guys here stemming back from even the Hextall error.
Oh, yeah.
And, some of these guys have not taken off, have not developed into being what they're being. And some of these guys, like Tanner Luzinski, great promise, always hurt. I think he's played 2 games in the AHL this year. Wade Allison, a Flyer through and through, right? Amazing player, roughneck, gets in the board, does the dirty work, but every single year he's hurt. He's played 48 games this year, but that's not 60.
Wow.
Been hurt. He's been hurt every year in college. He's been hurt every single year. He's not dependable. He's not dependable. He's not advancing to a 10, 15 goal scorer at least, like the Flyers thought he would be. The Kiefer Bellows of the world. I thought he'd be a little bit better. He would have a second chance to get out of the Islanders, and start fresh here. But here's not a great spot to, hit reset either. So, the Justin Bronze, get all these contracts out of here.
Lance, how I want to see some of these guys go away.
Yeah. And that's just what, Briere has started to do. If you look, he's really, since he's taken over, there's been an influx of what we've been saying for weeks now, and what I've written articles about here recently, and saying, when are the kids going to come up? The season is a loss. let's face it, we don't want to tank, but at the same time, why are you playing a over the hill, Justin Braun for all these games when you got Cam Yorks of the world and you got Igor Zumalas who recently came up again, when you got Ronnie Attard,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like these kids are the guys that should be up in this type of season right now so that they can gain the experience, right?
Yeah.
They can gain NHL experience. You can see also what they have, so that for next season that you're going to be able to depend on this guy. This guy needs a little bit more seasoning, or he's flat out not going to work.
Right, he's out of here.
Some of these guys have been stuck down in the minors and stuff for a while now, and not really developing because, as we talked before, the Flyers development program stinks.
That's putting it mildly.
So what are you going to do now, with Briere coming in, you're seeing not only the Noah Cates of the world and the Owen Tippett's of the world that have been taking off already. You're seeing the Cam Yorks more. You're seeing the Zumalas. You're seeing now Tyson Forrester, who I said they should draft in the first place. I love this kid. I love this kid for years now. He's showing his worth.
Yes. Yes, man. I'm here to tell you.
As we're filming this, he's already had another goal tonight. So, the Ronnie Attards coming up. The Bobby Brinks should be coming up. Big Sam in net. I want to see more of him. Briere's already went out and inked Emile Andre. The big guy not big guy, but anyway, the big prospect coming out of Sweden on defense for us. So that's a step in the right direction. He's bringing in these prospects that he likes now, and hopefully gonna clear out some more to sign some potential guys like the guys I wrote in this article, but also guys like Alex Gendron, who is tearing it up the queue right now as a Flyers prospect, or Ethan Sampson, a defenseman who is tearing up the WHL right now, is having an amazing season. Both of these guys got to be signed. Both of these guys got to be brought into the picture.
Same thing with Cutter.
Yep, and
Same thing with Cutter Gauthier, right?
Cutter's got to be broken in and brought in. David Kaplan's having a great year up in Beantown too.
How about Bump?
Alex Bump, he didn't have his greatest season. I thought he would, but he's definitely developing. I think he needs to get out of that league and maybe
he needs some more of that seasoning, like you said.
I think he does. He needs to come up to either the NCAA and play in there, find a school for a year, or get signed if they have the space and sign him and put him in the AHL. So who knows? But there's a lot of pieces that are already here that need to prove themselves. The opportunity, Jay O'Brien is another guy that he's been sitting in the NCAA scoring about a point a game and nothing. He's a first round pick. Why isn't he not signed? Why is he not traded if the team does not feel that he's going to be part of their future? Yeah. Something, right?
Something, yeah. See, that's the thing that kills me, right? That's all of these particular things that could have been done while Chuck Fletcher was in office, and he utterly didn't do a lift a finger to do any of it, right? And this is a perfect opportunity right now for these guys to be getting some meaningful looks in an NHL environment to do exactly with what you're talking about, because Tortorella was brought in to be an evaluator and a guy who's going to mold a team moving forward. Okay, that's what he was brought in here to do. Okay, he's look, I'm going to keep referencing this until I'm blue in the face, or at least blue in the shirt anyway. Mm-hmm. But it's like the whole 85 Bears when Ditka came in and said, "Hey, look, 60% of you ain't going to be here. when we win the championship. And lo and behold, he was right. And Tortorella is doing the exact same thing right now, saying exactly the same things. Well, there's going to have to be some subtraction. Really? Well, first you got to clear out the dirt, right? You got to clear out the cobwebs. You got to, shine everything up, right? So that means you got to get rid of the garbage. So let's talk about some of that subtraction.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you and I both have talked about the fact that there are some really ugly contracts on this team that really clearly need to go. Okay. So however that needs to happen, can that happen, please? And then there's probably some guys that are going to go away by default, either because they're a UFA or an RFA. So we don't have to worry about picking up their contracts, or there's no contract for them. You know what I'm saying?
Well, those guys should have already been traded away, but, Chuck Fletcher couldn't get a deal done.
Okay, like I said.
Because his app that he was using to be a professional NHL team's general manager, he was using an app to tell him if a trade was good or not. What the heck? That's his words. So, yeah.
You mean you're going to go down swinging with that?
Yeah. That's what he went down swinging with. So
okay, and it took him how long to figure out to fire this freaking guy?
Right.
All right. So let's talk about the subtraction. All right, and I just want to go first because I have two names on my list that I actually probably should just have three names on my list, but I don't have to worry about the one because I know it's just going to go away, and I probably don't have to worry about the other one either because that one probably is going to go away. The subtraction. Look, we all know that this has been a not so good year for the Flyers. Okay, so is it difficult to evaluate players in this type of environment? Yes, but in the same vein, you should be able to still see effort from guys. You should still see a moving in a different direction from guys. You should still see a want to in guys. You should still see an improvement in guys. You can't help for the talent or lack of talent around you, but you should still see those guys doing the little things, not just lacklusterly skating back to the bench when it's the end of their shift. Do you know what I mean? Or giving up too early on the shift to change. Or I'm not, I'm just saying these are some of the little things that happen. Do you know what I mean? Or right. Guys take off a shift or what, I'm not saying that these guys are doing this. All I'm saying is this. Some of the names that we're going to put on this list have not just been bad because of this year. It's been a culmination of, you know what I mean? These guys have had opportunities and they just haven't taken advantage of those opportunities. And I think Frost is one of them. He was put on a 1-year prove-it deal for $895,000. And quite frankly, I don't think he's done enough to prove anything to me.
Well, I'm not a big Frost fan. He does have 14 goals on the year, but I mean, you look at most of them have come against, the Flyers are not playing on most nights, they're not playing the team's best goalie. And I mean, what he scored in Florida, he scored in Florida's game in an empty net like that. That's the type of kind of goals he's scoring, or he's scoring against most of the time. Not always. He has scored some, but
right. I have seen him score. Yeah, I have seen him score some meaningful goals.
But a lot of times it's against teams' backups.
True that. Okay.
The Flyers are left to get excited. Flyers fans are left to get excited about them winning against the Panthers when they're playing Alex Leon, a guy the Flyers got rid of because he was a failed prospect that never really prospered. But we're left to get excited about that. And Carter Hart letting in 3 goals in that game, and he's already let in 5 goals where they just lost in another shootout tonight. So, You know,
Spoiler alert.
That's not a elite goaltending. So
We did a whole entire show. We even brought the Perlo Wisdom in to talk about the whole Carter Hart situation. And, look, we want to see the kid do well. We just don't think it's going to be here in Philadelphia. And that's just how that is. I would also look, I understand that Frost has made some improvements. I'm not trying to take anything away from the young man, but he's been given so many opportunities with talent far greater than what he's playing with now. And if he's supposed to be the next coming, he should be the one standing out every night instead of the kid that just came in, Tyson Forrester.
Or Owen Tippett, yeah.
Or Owen Tippett, or Scotty Lawton, or he's just not, he's not the center of attention. He's not the guy he's just not the guy.
Well, I think Noah Cates offers more than him.
I
At least
agree.
He can go up against the best, the opposition has.
Now there you go, right? So that's another reason.
He's a plus player. He's leading the team in plus minus right now.
See, you're taking the words out of my mouth now, see, right? Because that's another reason why I'm not a fan of Frost, right? And I see more out of Noah Cates than I do out of Frost. I see more effort. I see more want to. I see more drive. And frankly, I see more talent to put the puck in the net. Look, the kid's only playing, what, 6 or 7 minutes a night? He's not getting a whole boatload of ice time. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, as the coach trusts him more, he's getting more ice time, obviously. But, I'm starting to see him play more in the penalty kill. I'm starting to see him play more. He's getting some power play time. He's getting pushed around in other different places and other different opportunities for the team. Do you know what I'm saying? He's trying to get – Tortorella's trying to figure out where this kid fits because he's such a good talent, right? You notice how they're not moving Frost around much.
Right.
He finally found some chemistry with some guys, and that's all fine and great. But can we use this guy as a chip?
I would like to.
Because if you don't, he's going to walk. Okay? He's only signed for the end of this year, and that's it. If you don't get something for him now or soon, he's going to walk. Right? The next guy on the list, Lance, who's your guy?
As far as subtraction goes, like I said, I would say pick off some of the easy ones, like, not bringing back Frost, not bringing back Wade Allison, who's injury prone.
Bringing back Braun or, right. I'm with you.
JVR, of course. I would not bring him back. Even if he wanted to sign at a much reduced rate, I would not bring him back. Of course, I would like to see Sanheim gone, but previous administration loved him and gave him a contract almost as much as Provorov, and now you got Provorov, him, and Cam York that all play the same position, and Cam York's definitely playing out of position, and we talked about that before, so I would clean that up. Kevin Hayes, he made the All-Star team, but that's a big contract. And Tony DeAngelo, he's a minus 23 this season. Is that was a reach because you had to? Because
can you buy out Ellis?
You could.
Is that an injury buyout? Would that get him I don't know how that would work. Do you know what I mean? You got to find a way to get him off the books.
Yeah, that's a lot of dead cap that's got to sit there. $6.25 million for quite a few seasons left on his contract, and that's why they had to go out and go after DeAngelo, because they needed that right-hand shot defenseman, and they overpaid DeAngelo. I thought to come here. Thankfully, they didn't sign him forever, but he does have another season after this one. So if you could package him up. But that's why I say first things first, clear out some of those easy ones, some of those restricted free agents. Yes, I would sign Cam York back. Yes, I would sign Zumala back. Would I sign Justin Braun back? No. That's an easy one. He's unrestricted free agent. Don't sign him back. Morgan Frost, if you can find a trade partner for him, you might be able to get a little something for him. I would sign Noah Cates back. Kiefer Bellows, no thank you. It didn't work out. Let him walk. He's a restricted free agent. Braden Lemieux, I think I would bring him back. I think he's played pretty nice since being here. Before this game, he had 5 points in 6 games. He brings that little bit of toughness and everything like that.
He does have a bit of a snarl, and I do like his game, but I haven't seen enough of him to kind of give you an evaluation on whether or not I think he should be a guy that should stick around. Do you know what I'm saying? Because, look, at this point in time, I think what basically Tortorella is doing is building his core.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least that's what it appears that is what's going to be happening here, especially with this offseason, especially with the opportunity now that the Flyers have with a another potential top 5 draft this coming draft. Do you know what I'm saying? So I really think that right now Danny Briere is looking at it like that and going, okay, this is what I can clear out just because this is what we want to do moving forward. This is what they have to do moving forward, because you can't do anything with this team. There's too many roadblocks that have been put in place, and you need to move some of these contracts in order to get out of the roadblock. Do you know what I mean? You need to move a Sanheim or a Provorov or a Ristolainen, or you got to find a way to get rid of the Ellis contract, and you got to get rid of D'Angelo. Really, okay? You got to find a way to do it, okay? I don't care how you have to do it. You got to find a way, okay?
And I misspoke earlier. Actually, the Flyers were the winners in overtime. I was glancing at it while you were talking.
Oh, but, spoiler alert.
5-4. But Farabee is not a guy I would get rid of. He is slowly coming back from injury. Now he is gaining momentum in these last couple games. He had a goal and an assist tonight, and
played really well the other night too.
Played very well. He's had a goal in a couple of games now. I think he's really getting back to 100% and playing here. So, a lot of people were down on him this year after he had such a great year prior and the year before that. But
everybody forgets that he had the same procedure that Jack Eichel did, and it's taken Jack Eichel almost the same amount of time to get up to speed as well physically.
Right.
Okay. Especially from that particular type of operation.
That's a lot.
So it is. And if you look at where he is now, I agree. I think he's definitely coming on. I think he's definitely feeling better. He looks better out on the ice now than what he did, like, say, back at February. Do you know what I mean? He just
for sure
looks better. He's skating better. He's hitting better. He's finishing things. He's doing the little things now where he wasn't doing that before because he was more gingerly, didn't want to put himself in harm's way kind of thing. Right. And you can't blame a guy for that. He just had major neck procedure, surgery, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't want to get, I'm not trying to go out there and bang bodies and do that kind of stuff. Are you kidding?
Well, I mean, I'm really surprised he was able to come back.
I am too.
Even this season when he did, I was expecting him to miss a little bit more time and also.
There's one thing that we haven't had a chance really to talk about here, and it's something that has cropped up that I've seen here and there, and that's that obviously we're looking at Couturier, TK being shut down for the year, right? But then we're looking at potentially Sean Couturier coming back to play.
Why? Yeah, at this point, why? Let it shut us down. Let it stay out.
Are you at that? I'll tell you what, man. I'm gonna buck the system a little bit on that. If he can go out there and play in 10 games, I want to see it. I haven't seen him play anything in 2 years. If he says he's good to play, I want to see it. Because guess what? You're on the hook to him for the next how many years for $6.85 million or whatever, right? So yeah, if he can come back and play in 10 games, suit him up. Okay, I want to see that guy sweating. I want to see him making shots. I want to see it happen. Yeah, because if I don't, now I have no clue what I got. And hey, if he comes back and plays and he plays really well and everything's great, either I can chip him or, hey, he's going to come back next year and everything's going to be copacetic.
He's missed a lot of time.
I understand, but you get what I'm saying, though.
Multiple years. I get what you're saying. I mean, you're paying the guy actually $7.75 million.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, a lot of years. So
if he can come back and play this year even if he can come back and play for 4 or 5 games, bring it. Suit him up. Put some skates on. Let's go. I want to see him sweat. I mean, for the amount of money.
I want a better draft pick. I don't want to come back.
No. But see, think about this. If he comes back and plays, now he has proven that he is healthy, which now makes him a chip, a commodity. Hey, Sean Couturier is back. Who wants him? Nobody's going to take him for that money in that contract.
8 years. No, thank you.
Right. But
that's already injury prone.
Yeah. Right. But you get what I'm saying, though. At least you can get an idea of what you have. Because I need to see that. I really need to see that. Because if not, then you need to think about something else.
Yeah. And I mean, another one in the same boat is Cam Atkinson. Like, that's kind of scary. Like, guys that's 33 and having this injury, he was a big piece that we thought we would have after, Voracek left, and now he's been out.
We got a shortened season with him, right? That's all we got out of Cam Atkinson, a shortened season, and it was even shortened because he left that season like 5 or 6 games early because of this injury that he's dealing with now, or whatever the case is that's kept him out this whole season. Okay, he's another one too that we haven't even talked about. We haven't even discussed, right? Cam Atkinson, come on, we're on the hook for this guy for how many years and how many $6-7-5 million a year for the next couple years. You know what I mean? Like
most 6 for at least the next 2 after this year.
And he hasn't played this whole year. He hasn't played. We haven't even gotten into your article yet. But this whole subtraction thing, man, there's too much. It's too deep. The quagmire is too much. We've already done too many buckets. We've already bailed too many buckets here. You know what I'm saying? It's like it just keeps coming back. You move a little bit away and the it keeps coming back. There's more and more stuff that needs to get out of here. If Danny Briere or whomever the general manager is and whomever hockey operations is or whatever, if they can do some of these moves, they're going to have to do something. They're going to have to make a move with some of these players that we're talking about, whether it be the Carter Hart, whether it be the Ivan Provorov, whether it be the Sanheim or whatever. You're going to have to package somebody up to get something you need some cap space, because right now you're really only looking at about $4.5 million when it's all said and done. And $4.5 million doesn't really buy you much, especially when you need.
You got to sign back multiple players.
You got to sign back Cam York. You got to sign back Zumala. You got to. What are you going to do? If you get rid of Carter Hart? Now you need 2 goaltenders, right? Are you going to move Arison up? If you're not, now you need a backup goaltender. Right. And if you're not going to do that, you're going to have to give Arison at least a contract to be the backup goaltender. You know what I'm saying? And you're going to get rid of all these guys who are going to walk, and there's so many holes now in your roster, and you have only very piddly little money to spend. That doesn't get you much talent.
Mm.
So, with that being said, Lance, you wrote an article that gives the Flyers another out.
Yes.
And this is, do you like the segue? Mm-hmm. That was pretty good, right? That was really good. It gives the Flyers another out because these NCAA guys that haven't been drafted, we thought that the draft for this coming season is going to be good. I'm here to tell you that the crop of talent that's in the NCAA that we're going to talk about here, that Lance wrote about in his article, I think is just as good. And I can't understand why they weren't drafted. It doesn't make any sense when guys that are much less talented were drafted. You know, I mean, I don't get it, right? So was that the inspiration behind this article?
Well, it was, but every year about this time, as NCAA season is finishing up, now it's going into a Frozen Four and all that.
Oh, yeah, buddy.
Sweet
Getting
16,
exciting.
Kind of the same thing that, basketball is so big for, right? When teams are ending the season, they have a lot of talent that, like Steele said, is undrafted, that went undrafted, that is not claimed by any team.
Yeah.
So this is a perfect way for the Flyers, who dropped the ball in gaining assets at the trade deadline for veterans they weren't going to keep anyway, like, not trading James Van Riemsdyk and getting draft picks so that you can get these future assets.
Right.
They don't have much in the way of the cupboard besides Cutter Gauthier and all this because their development system's horrible.
Right.
These guys are a little bit older prospects who've been playing in the NCAA for 2 to 3 seasons, maybe got passed up, maybe walked onto a team, maybe they just weren't quite their draft years, but have been a little bit of a late bloomer in an aspect. And now they're shining stars in the NCAA where, on a nightly basis, they're playing some of the best prospects, in hockey, in all of hockey. Cutter Gauthier for the Flyers was a top 5 pick. He's playing, for Boston College. You got Luke Hughes in Michigan, was a 4th overall selection. Logan Cooley playing for Minnesota. He was a 3rd overall selection. All these guys are in the NCAA, and some of these guys are well surpassing their numbers even. So it's a perfect and very cost-effective option to load back up that cupboard of prospects in your system.
On the cheap.
On the cheap, right? Because they're going to be on entry-level deals.
All of them.
All of them. All these guys are. So, and they're going to be happy just to be playing hockey past their college career. So, every year the teams that are great, the Pittsburgh Penguins, the Tampa Bay Lightnings, and all of those teams that are always drafting later in the aspects of things because they're always there religiously in the playoffs. This is what they do. They bring in these type guys and sign them. And you don't hear a lot about it because the season's going on and everything like that. But then you come look at the roster next year and you're like, who is this guy? If you don't follow college hockey, and all of a sudden the guy's a 20-goal scorer in the NHL. Not always are these guys going to pan out, but they're a very cheap option to prosper, or if they don't work out, just get rid of for $800,000, $900,000.
See, that's the thing. They're on the cheap. right?
Right.
So you're bringing in guys that potentially could be really great players for the organization that have the potential to be game-changing players, that could be, game-altering players, that could be the types of guys that you can hang from the rafters. Things. I mean, I am not kidding you here about this. When I read this article and I started looking at some of the names on this, I was like, "Ooh, I talked to this guy. Ooh, I talked to this guy too."
Yeah.
Right? And I was like, "Hey, wait a minute. You picked out some guys on here that if you guys watch and you follow Steel Flyers and the All Sports Network and everything that we do at steelflyers.com, you know that Lance and I do a Prospect Watch show where we interview some of the greatest talent in all the world when it comes to hockey. And I'm here to tell you, there were two guys on this list that we definitely interviewed, and we're able to have a firsthand look into these guys for sure. And we'll get to them here in just a second, but I really like how, Lance, you always seem to put together ways and means to fix things.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? And you're right. Teams like, Pittsburgh and Tampa Bay and Colorado and, teams that win the Stanley Cup, they always have those depth guys that come from this. They always have those guys that are playing on their farm team that have come from here. So that when they have a call-up, they have a pretty competent guy that can come in and fill in for when Malkin goes down or when, McKinnon goes down or when, Kachuk goes down or, whatever, right? Whatever. So the first guy on the list is Jason Poulin from Western Michigan, okay? And talk to me about Jason.
So Jason is playing with some very good line mates, and one of which we'll get to a little bit later. But Jason's currently the leading goal scorer in all of college hockey right now, okay? He's 23 years old. He's a little older, which in my mind is not a bad thing for a prospect coming out of what we're talking about here. It's actually a good thing because he's not a 18-year-old kid that you're going to have to sit on for 3 years to see if he's going to develop pan out. He's now a 23-year-old kid that you could potentially sign, and he could be playing hockey for your NHL club now, or he could be, jumping onto your
AHL team. Team,
and not have to sit and see if he's going to develop. He's already developed to be one of the best prospects out there right now. So, he's 23 years old. He's 6 foot tall, 198 pounds. He wore the C for Western Michigan this year. And, I think he's a true leader, just like that C on his chest represents. In big situations, he is a guy that takes it to the next level. All right. He I don't know, in 38 games played, he scored 29 goals, 17 assists for 46 points.
Wow.
He's averaging almost a point and a quarter a game. All right. Almost a .121 or something like that right now. All right. He's a plus 27.
Gee, can we have this guy on the team? What?
So in all aspects, and why you would want him on a team is he's a finisher. Like Owen Tippett, he doesn't shy away from shooting the puck. All right, this guy gets the puck on his stick from some pretty amazing line mates, and he puts it home, and he has the shot to do so.
Buddy.
Much like we're learning Tyson Forrester has now too.
Yes,
so,
right.
This is the type of offense that this guy could bring, and I gotta say, somebody's going to get a good one after their season's done. Somebody's going to come calling, and
exactly
going to get a good prospect out of him, and the guy's going to develop and be a good pro, whether it be at the AHL level, the NHL level. He's going to make it a solid addition to somebody's depth chart.
I'm with you on that for sure, and that's a type of guy that you could at least give a shot to because it'll be on the cheap. You can give him a 2-way contract. Do you know what I mean? And if he pans out with the NHL club, cool. If not, then he can play for your AHL affiliate. The next name on your list is Hunter McCown from Colorado College. And talk to me about Hunter.
So Hunter, Colorado College is a Division I school that most people don't even know about. We actually interviewed a player in Zade Wisdom's brother, actually. So he is going there.
He's going there next year.
Next year, right?
Yep.
So it's becoming more and more of a program there. They got a good coach, and he's bringing in some talent there. And Hunter is a kid who is 20 years old. He's a forward. He was with a national development program and, U.S. national development program, which, is excellent in itself. But he's kind of a guy that got buried on their roster, right? Never really got drafted. He went to Colorado and started to flourish, all right, as one of those kind of late bloomers, I would say. So he scored 21 goals this year. He has 7 assists for 28 points. He was their leading goal scorer and point getter this year. He has a knack for scoring from long range. Back when he has a knack for sitting there, skating around with it until maybe his power forward or whatever you want to call it skates right in front of the goalie, and he's going to rip a shot right at that instance where the goalie loses sight of it. And, a lot of times it pays off for him and it goes in the back of the net. Also, what you're going to get out of this guy who's 6'1" and 205 pounds is a true power play specialist. Okay. 12 out of the 19 goals he scored were on the power play this year. All right. He can cycle that puck, and he can, he is a legit threat on the power play, which a lot of teams need. They need a guy that can just get out there, find some open ice, take advantage of it, right?
Exactly, because the power play can change the momentum of a game, can shift the game in your favor just like that. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, when watching this kid, Hunter from Colorado, man, I'll tell you what, he's impressive. He's really got good vision, man. He really does. He sees the ice.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, his head is always up. He's always looking.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's hard to find. You can't coach that.
You can't. And another thing you can't really coach is shootout talent. All right. So this kid, he can have the puck on a string of sorts, right? And a lot of times he's been a deadly threat during the shootout as well, or a penalty shot, either way. When he's coming down 1-0 on a goalie, he reminds me, I don't want to say, a little Trevor Zegras, esque, but he's pretty darn impressive with that puck on his stick, and he's pretty well gonna be a sure bet to get a goal in that sense if he's in a shootout. So that's another thing that'll add another couple wins for a team a year too. So
you need that guy that when he's on the breakaway can score.
Yeah.
Instead of high and wide or off the side of the cage or hear him hitting the glass.
Right.
I want to hear it going into the net. You know what I mean? All right. From Quinnipiac. I'm sorry, my mistake. Quinnipiac. I should know that. I really should. Because we spoke to the other player here that's on this list.
Yes.
But so from Quinnipiac, Colin Graff.
Colin Graff. A name for sure, right? So just another impressive forward that's undrafted, free agent talent to be able to be signed at the end of the season. They're in the playoffs now, and his team is pretty darn good, and he's a big part of that.
Ooh, yeah, they're pretty darn good.
Yeah. One of my favorite teams to watch right now, and actually in talks with them to try to get him on our show. Spoiler alert. So we'll see if we can make that happen. All right. I'm talking to the guys up there, but he's kind of busy right now, winning games. So
let him play a little bit and win some of them games. Then we'll talk to you.
Yeah, so he's 6 foot tall. He's 181 pounds. He's a playmaker of sorts. He's a guy that needed a change of scenery. He played for Union College last year.
Yeah.
He was okay, but he wasn't great. So he took his talents up to Connecticut there and to Quinnipiac.
And that's a great program up there too. Really, really good program up there.
They got a darn good coach up there as well.
Woo!
And so he joined the Bobcats, and he's only got 6 goals, 6 goals, 12 assists, and 18 points in his last 10 games. That's it. You know what I mean? Last 10 games, 18
points in his last 10 games. Oh, darn.
Yeah.
Good gravy. All that guy does is what? Put the puck in the back of the net?
Well, he allows a lot of guys to put the puck in the back of the net that he plays with. He's got an NCAA leading 35 assists this year, who he's tied with another player we'll talk about in a minute. But he's got 55 points on the season.
Wow.
He's a plus 28 as well. So he is defensively responsible as well. Very, very good prospect to add to your system there. He comes from some great tutelage in, Quinnipiac. And, I really like this kid. I really like what he's got and has to offer. I don't know if he'll necessarily go back or not next season, but I hope he doesn't. I like to see him at a pro level and
see That's what I would like to see too. Yeah, I would too. That would be great, man. See, that's the thing, man. This is where general managers need to be having scouts and people into these places where they need to have this stuff. Look, I'm here to tell you.
Notes during the show, either way.
There you go. Right. See, all you have to do is listen, check out Lance and check out Prospect Watch with Lance and I, right? Because Lance and I got our thumb on the pulse of what's going on here for these prospects and these kids. Okay, I think we really do. I think we have found the next name on the list here. Okay, is a young man that we've spoken to personally. We've had interviews with this man, Ryan McAllister from Western Michigan, and another Western Michigan guy, Jason Poulian's line mate as well. But he's a Brooks Bandits alum. Okay, and that look. I just want to tell you guys, this guy was. What he broke the Cale Makar's points per season, right?
No, that was Zach Bookman.
Zach Bookman, all right.
Defense, but
he's another one we should have on there.
Yeah. But last season alone, McAllister had 57 goals, 82 assists for 139 points. All right, for the Brooks Bandits. This kid is going to bring, and he has brought to Western Michigan, a winning mentality, okay? Because he not only won a championship for the Brooks Bandits in the Inter Pipeline Cup, he won league's leading point getter. He was named the AJHL's MVP, the playoff MVP, and then he went on nationally to take on all the other champions of of Canadian junior hockey, and also won the Centennial Cup, where he was the MVP of that as well. So
gosh, man.
Yeah.
Callie knows how to put the puck in the net, doesn't he?
Yeah, and he's another guy. Not only can he score when he needs to,
this kid has got some hands, and
he was also tied Graf for the assist lead in the NCAA this year. For a long point at this season, McAllister was actually leading the league in points for most of the season before Fantilli took it over.
Yeah.
As a whole. And, it surprised a lot of people. Nobody really knew who he was.
We did. Yeah.
That's why we had him on very early in the season this year to kind of talk to him once he made it to Western Michigan.
Exactly.
But just a kid that's only going to get better. Boy, I would offer him a contract today or when they can.
When
they can.
Yeah.
Because if I was a GM, this guy is only going to get better. Even if he decides to go back to school next year, I would let him. And he's only going to multiply his point totals. I'm talking multiply, not add to, multiply.
But you're right, though, Lance. You're right. He is, of all the names on this list, he is the one kid that I would have to say you put a ink to paper for this kid right now. Yep. You bring him into town and you do not let him leave. Right.
And I don't know why he didn't get drafted.
I don't either.
But shame on you, NHL clubs.
I'm with you on that. He's not exactly 6'5", 220 pounds. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, he's if you're lucky, you might get him to 5'11".
Yeah, he's 5'11". Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So it's not like he's 6'5", 220 pounds. But of all the guys on this list, I would take him right now, like you said, right now. All right. The next name on the list is Jake Livingstone from the Minnesota State. And I'm here to tell you, man, all of the colleges that you have on this list, obviously, Quinnipiac and
Western
Michigan are repeats. But all the Minnesota State, Jake Livingstone, man, talk to me about this Minnesota State guy.
So this is a defenseman, all right? He is one guy that NHL clubs have been drooling over for quite some time. He's 6'3", 205 pounds. He's a darn good player. He can bring it on the offensive side, and he can bring it on the defensive side as well. He's not all offense where he's going to run up every single time. He's going to get back. He's going to be defensively responsible for his club as well. He's had 110 games for Minnesota State over the course of, I think, 3 seasons. And, he has 80 points as a defenseman. That's pretty darn good. And,
for 113 games?
110.
Oh, 110.
So, all right. So in that same time span, he's a career plus 54 as well. Okay. This guy can knock people off the puck. He can jump up, make that initial pass to that winger, and then almost beat that player into the offensive zone because he doesn't just stop the rush, when he passes that puck. He jumps up into it if he sees maybe that other team's changing lines or anything like that. He's going to take advantage of that, and he's going to jump right up into that offense, buddy. And he's able to skate with them to do so.
That's what you're talking about.
I really like this kid. I think he could possibly be a guy who could step up and, enter into the NHL immediately and be a 5th or 6th defenseman this year to finish out the year for a team. That's how, and that's that 23-year-old rather than bringing in a prospect who's 18. He's seasoned, right? He's played.
He's ready to rock
some big time hockey, and he's ready to go. He's ready to go. So
I'm with you. The last name on the list, and of course, we couldn't have a Guardian of the Blue Paint not have a list of NCAA prospects that you should be drafting or that they should be looking to sign for depth because these guys all went undrafted. We also had the distinct honor and privilege of speaking with this other Quinnipiac player, and that is Yaniv Peretz, the goaltender. And, man, I'll tell you what, it has been amazing watching him grow this season, how he has just exploded as far as the kind of goaltender that he is for this team. I mean, talk to me about Yaniv.
Yeah, so one of my favorite prospects in all of the world is this goaltender.
Really? A goaltender, your favorite prospect in the world? Really?
Imagine that, right?
Imagine that.
Imagine that. So He was actually in the Flyers developmental camp. He got invited. Why the Flyers let him leave without a contract, I have no clue. What the heck? No, he could have been playing with the Flyers this year, but I digress. I digress. But
Yeah, right.
you know, Peretz is an amazing goaltender. While a lot of people may not be thinking of him in this aspect currently, they darn well should. A lot of people are drooling over Maine's goaltender right now, Otzman, who is an undrafted free agent.
Yeah.
Because he's 6'4". I don't care that he's 6'4". Okay, guys. Over his time span in the NCAA, he's over a 3 goals against average. I don't want any parts of that, and he's only won 33% of his starts.
Yeah,
okay,
I don't want any percent of that either.
I don't want anything. I don't care that he's 6'4". He can't stop the puck like Peretz can. Okay, Peretz can take over a game, and he has a lot of times, and we'll get to that. But over the past 2 seasons, last year he was split with Dylan St. Cyr, who was a very good goaltender as well. But he left because Peretz took over the net. He took over the net in Quinnipiac last season. And, Peretz finished last season with a 1.17 GAA. All right. Oh, my goodness. That's amazing.
The Flyers haven't seen or heard or sniffed that since. Anyway.
Yeah. So, again, like I said, why they let this guy go, not with a contract out of developmental camp, I don't know. But this season, he's got a goals against average of a 1.52, a league leading, again, for the second year, goals against average, right, of a 1.52 this season. All right. Over the last 2 seasons, I'll give you a little comparison where that other guy in Maine that everybody is talking about only won 33% of his games to date. This guy's won 76% of his games played. All right. That's pretty darn good.
I think I want that guy.
That's pretty darn good, right?
Yeah, I think I want that guy.
Even more so, 20 of his 52 NCAA win totals have come by way of a shutout. 20 of his 52. All right, that's why this guy has such a small goals against average every single year, because every other game he's getting a shutout.
Wow.
Yes, he plays on a great team. Yes, they are good defensively. Yes, they're well coached. But
so what?
They're winning games because this kid is in net. All right.
Oh my gosh, Lance.
He's 23 years old, so he's coming into his prime as a goaltender. And I think today, immediately, if he was signed, he could take the goal away from a bad team like the Flyers. I'm saying he could take Carter Hart's job right now. Right now. That's what I think of this kid.
We should get Peretz on the line again, man, because I'd love to hear how he's doing. You know what I mean? Now, because I
maybe after the season, I'll talk to him.
Yeah, there you go.
Again, and try to get him on. In the off season here.
Oh my gosh. I think he could definitely give Carter Hart a run for the money. I definitely think he could make Carter Hart sweat. I really do.
I think Carter Hart needs that.
I think he does too. And you know what? I think even Carter Hart knows that he needs that too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, wow, there you go, man. That's a great list based off of the article that Lance posted out onto the SteelFlyers.com website here just a couple days ago. And Lance, it was a great article. And I think this is a great show to talk about exactly what Tortorella was talking about with the subtraction, what we talked about. And then, of course, when you have all that subtraction, because you have all of that subtraction, you have a lot of holes in your team. And because the Flyers are so cap-strapped, these guys are all going to be on the cheap. They're all going to be entry-level contracts. I would take 2 or 3 of them right now.
Yep.
Right now, I would take 2 or 3 of them. Okay? So, I don't know. And I know you would take probably at least 2 or 3 of them right now too, if you had your druthers, right?
Sure.
Lance, any upcoming got anything in the works, sir? Are you dusting anything off, or?
I always do. But
Yeah.
yeah, nothing, no hints to give away as of yet. I got to pick through my mounds of notes and scribbles, thoughts that I've had, and just sit down and get something posted out here. So
That's awesome, dude. Listen, I got to tell you something, okay? Now, I understand that we have this platform, and I understand that we get a chance to do this show. But I just want everybody to know that the reason why we do this is to give Lance a platform for his writing so that we can talk about it. I do read other articles, I do read other things, but I really, really enjoy reading Lance's stuff because there's no fluff. It's straight up. It's the facts, thank you. And it's from a pretty darn good perspective of somebody who maybe not has played in the NHL, but has played enough in goal to realize what it looks like and has watched enough hockey and has played enough hockey over the years. That's why I put a lot of trust in what Lance says. And when we talk about these prospects, we've done a lot of research. We've done a lot of digging. We've done a lot of, watching of their videos, checking their stats from their, not just from this year, but how do they look from when they first started playing hockey to where they are now? Do you know what I'm saying? This is why we have the ability to talk about these guys. This is why we give the evaluation of these players, because we've done the research. We look at these guys. This is what we do, right? Okay, come on. So that's why I'm always going to be supportive of Lance, and I'm always going to be excited about anything that Lance puts out there, is because I really enjoy reading what you write, Lance, because I really like your style, and I really like the fact that I get an article instead of copy paste, instead of regurgitating, stats that you can read from the box score. And you know what I'm saying? I want to read an article and I want to be informed, and that's why I really, really enjoy what you write, Lance. So thank you.
I appreciate it.
You got it, my man. So why don't you tell the folks where we can find you and where we can get all your great stuff?
So, of course, you can find all my articles on SteelFlyers.com. You can find this show and Prospect Watch on YouTube, as well as any of your podcasting platforms. And you can, get me on Twitter and read my thoughts or random outburst about the Flyers at Lance.Green39.
Or anything else at large, whatever Lance feels like throwing out there for us, We would like to say very special thank yous to Spreaker for all your support and all your help for putting us out there on all the platforms. All you have to do is go to your favorite podcasting platform like Spreaker or Spotify or Google or iHeart or Apple. Type in Hockey Writers Ink and give us a 5-star rating and help us to get out there for Philadelphia Flyers podcasts. Thank you very much for watching. I am SteelFlyers, your co-host. You can get me on Twitter at SteelFlyers52. You can get all the great work from all of us here at SteelFlyers All Sports Network at SteelFlyers.com. From Painting on the Radio to the great Pearl of Wisdom to the Hockey Writers Ink to Prospect Watch and, of course, the SteelFlyers podcast. Thank you very much for watching the Hockey Writers Ink. We'll catch you all on the next episode.